evening, New York City! I'm Brad Lander, the New York City Controller, also known as your second choice in the primary. That primary gave me a front row seat to see this powerful coalition that Zoran is building, and then to become part of it. Watching Zoran up close, I got to see how hungry New Yorkers are for a city they can afford, where everyone is welcome, and with a leader who inspires us. So, when the opportunity to cross-endorse arrived, I knew just what to do. For starters, we had to send that corrupt, abusive bully Andrew Cuomo back to the suburbs. I said it on election night, and I can't wait to say it again next Tuesday. Good fucking riddance! But our cross-endorsement was more than ranked choice math. It also showed the possibility of solidarity. Politics does not have to be the sour, selfish ego trip of Cuomo or Adams or Trump. Politics can be a team sport for building the New York of our dreams. That's what Zoran is building. And that's what all of us are building. So I want to start by asking, how many of you, like me, are Jews for Zoran? Now, you might not think it from the press, but you could hear it here. Zoran's coalition includes hundreds of thousands of Jewish New Yorkers. We see in this campaign a way to fulfill Jewish values like B'Tselem Elohim, that everyone is created in God's image, or Ve'ahavta et Hager, that we're commanded to welcome refugees. On primary night, Zoran made a commitment to reach out to people who disagree with him. And since then, I have seen him keep that promise in dozens of meetings with rabbis and Jewish leaders, in house parties, in synagogues, at town halls, at Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur services. In each one, Zoran listened intently to people's hopes and also to their fears, including all too real experiences of anti-Semitism. With patience, with compassion, and with a plan, he has made it crystal clear Zoran will work to keep Jewish New Yorkers and all New Yorkers safe. Now, how many of you are Muslims for Zoran? Assalamu alaikum. I want to speak to you as a Jewish New Yorker, because this race, especially in the last few days, has seen outrageous Islamophobia. For shame. Shame on you, J.D. Vance, and shame on you, Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo and his billionaire donors have sought to exploit both anti-Semitism and Islamophobia for his political gain. It's gross, and we won't stand for it. Jews and Muslims will not be divided against each other. Our safety, our freedom, our thriving is bound up together. And that's true in New York City, and it is also true in Israel and Palestine. Israelis will not be free and safe until Palestinians are free and safe. And that's why, even though this is a municipal election, we demand the end to the genocide in Gaza. I am so thrilled that the hostages are home. I met many of their families, many of them. Now, the ceasefire must be honored, and aid must flow in, and a path to Palestinian freedom and peace must be found. We might see different ways of getting there, but we won't compromise anyone's humanity. And that includes immigrants coming to our city, fleeing violence and war and poverty. This spring, in June, when I was arrested at 26 Federal Plaza trying to accompany Edgardo, Zoran was the first mayoral candidate to show up and demand my release. I've been back every week since. This past Thursday, I was there for the detention of a 16-year-old high school student named Joel. For shame, shame. And I went back to get arrested in civil disobedience again last month, along with a lot of you. We will fight Donald Trump by showing up for our neighbors at 26 Federal Plaza or anywhere else he tries to come for them. We will fight Donald Trump by standing with our Attorney General, Tish James. We will fight Donald Trump by saying good riddance to his puppet, Andrew Cuomo. And we will fight Donald Trump when we show up in historic numbers with our neighbors, with our friends, with our families to reject his politics of corruption and billionaire rule and elect Zohran Mamdani, the next mayor of New York City. Because it's not Donald Trump versus Zohran Mamdani. It's Donald Trump versus New York City. With Zoran as our mayor, we'll show the world that we know what it means to wake up every day with that copper-plated statue in the harbor, reminding us what it means to be New Yorkers. And that work won't stop at the boundaries of the 5 boroughs. We'll take that fight to Albany to win the resources working people deserve. And we'll take that fight to the halls of Congress, where it's more important than ever that we have leaders who understand this moment and who will be partners to Zoran. Finally, the New York of our dreams won't build itself. We will build it together. So, let me see again. Where are the Jews for Zoran? The Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, people who aren't religious, blacks, Latinos, Asians for Zoran, LGBTQ. Look around you. This is the New York of our dreams. And now, it's on us to make it real. The coalition that won the primary by turning out new voters in historic numbers, you knocked 500,000 doors in those last 11 days. We need to do that now again. To remind those voters, there's one more election on November 4th for all the marbles. So, QR code, sign up to Canvas right now, please. I'm doing it. Please join me as well. Our sages say, Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tsar me'od. All the world is a very narrow bridge, and the most important thing is not to be afraid. So let's canvass, let's vote, let's cross that bridge together. Let's elect Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Let's build the New York of our dreams. Thank you very much.
Keep it going for Brad Lander. Okay, guys, here's the thing. Brad Lander is really serious about canvassing. Are you? So is this the QR code? This is the QR code. Everybody take out your phone right now. Don't make me be bossy. I see one phone. Why do I see one phone? I know you all. Take out your phones right now. Take a picture of me. And then scan the QR code, and I'm not getting off stage until every single person takes out their phone, does the QR code. I don't know how to do that, but you all do. And sign up for canvassing, because how many days do we have left? Is that true? Are you going to canvass tonight after this? Right. Is everyone? I'm gonna wait until you all sign up to canvass. Sing with me.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Hey guys, I wasn't finished singing, so you just silenced the female narrative at the round. Just kidding. You guys all signed to canvas. Thank you for doing that. Keep it going for yourselves. I've got an amazing joke for you. A reverend, a rabbi, and an imam walk into the bar, and the bartender says, "What are you having?" And they say, "No Cuomo." You guys like that? Okay. Can I get the energy back up? You guys, please give a warm, not cold, not chilly, a very warm New York welcome to Reverend Charles Galbreth, Rabbi Sharon Kleinbound, and Imam Khaled Latif.
Good evening. My name is Khaled Latif. I'm the director of the Islamic Center of New York City and a proud member of the Muslim Democratic Club of New York. We are gathered at a time when too many people in our city and in our country are being told that they don't belong. When the language of our politics too often divides rather than unites. When people are made to feel invisible, not because of what they've done, but because of who they are. Like many of you, I am here tonight not just because my brother Zohran Mamdani is running, but because of what he is running for. We are here not because it is fashionable, not because it is convenient, but simply because it is right. We are here because the moral fiber of our democracy is being tested. We are here because we refuse to allow the forces of hatred, greed, and fear to have the last word. The vitriol and bigotry that has unsurprisingly and unfortunately spewed itself from commentators, politicians, and political opportunists is the same tired Islamophobic rhetoric that has plagued our nation for decades. They invoked 9/11, recycled anti-Muslim tropes, and warned that a Muslim in a position of power poses a threat to our security and our democracy. This isn't new, but it is still very dangerous. You have to understand that Islamophobia is not just hate, it's a strategy. What we are witnessing is a deliberate attempt to marginalize and dehumanize. It is used to cast Muslims as perpetual outsiders, incapable of leadership, unworthy of trust. When Zohran succeeds and the reaction from Andrew Cuomo is to question his loyalty to America, that reveals a deeper ailment, one where identity itself becomes suspect. To be Muslim in America is to know that your belonging is always being questioned. But we are still here and we are not going anywhere. The same forces that target Muslims are also targeting immigrants, the working class, the homeless, black and brown people of all kinds. Really, anyone who comes from underserved and underprivileged backgrounds, especially those amongst them who dare to speak truth to power. Islamophobia does not exist in a vacuum. It is entangled with white supremacy, xenophobia, and anti-black racism. To me, anti-Muslim sentiment has always been a system of anti-blackness. To those peddling hatred in our political discourse, you should know that democracy thrives not on fear, but on radical empathy. It demands we trust one another, respect our differences, and elect leaders who reflect our collective identity, not just a narrow majority. And there is no doubt that those who believe in Zohran's leadership come from all walks of life. To everyone who is not a bigot, remember that we are stronger when we include and not exclude. Zohran's victory will not just be a political milestone. It is an invitation to dream bigger, to love braver, and to live up to our city's promise. We do not need to become what they fear in order to defeat them. We simply need to keep showing up with our hearts, our feet grounded, and our collective voice strong and unwavering. This is our city too, and we all belong here. We're here to say that justice is not just a slogan, it is a struggle. That love is not just a sentiment, it is a commitment. That every human being, no matter their faith, their color, their gender, their income, or their immigration status, has infinite value and unshakable dignity. That affordability is not just about rent checks and price tags, it's about ordinary people can live with stability, with joy, with hope. That a democracy that allows corporate greed to dictate who gets a home, who gets health care, who gets to dream, that is a democracy on life support. We may not have all the money, but we have a movement made up of the people. And when the people move, the ground beneath injustice begins to shake. When the people move, the walls built to divide us, they crumble. When the people move, the impossible becomes inevitable. To my brother Zohran Mamdani, keep showing them who we are by showing them who you are. We are with you every step of the way, and we know that your victory will not just be yours, but ours. It will belong to every family fighting to stay in their home, every worker demanding dignity, and every young person daring to dream of a fairer world. Because when you rise, Zohran, we all rise. When you speak truth to power, you remind us that the moral arc of the universe still bends towards justice, but only when we bend it together. So let's keep bending. Let's keep building. Let's keep believing. This is our city. This is our moment. And this movement is what New York City should look like.
This is the vision of New York City that we love. A Muslim, a Jew, and a Christian stand here supporting this campaign to take our city back. My name is Sharon Kleinbound, and I'm a rabbi here in New York City who is dedicated to the vision of transforming this city into a place in which all of us live in peace and security and can afford to live in this city. In our Jewish story read this past Shabbat of Noah after the flood, God says to all of us, I set my rainbow in the clouds as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Now it is your turn to make sure the earth is taken care of. That rainbow was the first covenant, a promise of life and diversity, a sign that creation itself is holy in all of our colors, a sign that it is up to us to create a future free of corruption and violence, which we're told caused God to flood the earth with the Mabul, with the flood itself. Our sages then taught in Pirkei Avot, in the Mishnah, that the rainbow was one of the last things that God created, Bein Hashmashot, in the tender moment between day and night, when light and darkness touch but do not erase each other. That's the spiritual hour New York City lives in all the time, between light and shadow, wealth and poverty, despair and hope. And it is in that in-between place that holiness is born. Centuries later, two Jewish sons of immigrants, Yip Harburg and Harold Arlen, dreamed another rainbow into being. There was no rainbow in the original Wizard of Oz. In the depths of the Great Depression, they wrote somewhere over the rainbow. From a place of despair and hopelessness, we can imagine the creativity of a rainbow with color and vision and creativity. A vision not of escape, but of courage. A world in which people could live free and unafraid, where dreams and justice meet. That dream must be renewed in every generation. And we need leaders like Zohran Mamdani to help us keep imagination and creativity alive, to dream of the future and work hard to make it happen. Here in this city of mosques and churches, temples and synagogues, street corner altars, we are each of us called to make that rainbow real. We must make sure we are creating a city which feeds the hungry, houses the unhoused, welcomes the stranger and the immigrant, and protects every single child's right to dream. We must be the carriers of that message. We must make affordable this messy, creative city of ours. Now, I know that I don't agree with our leader, Zohran Mamdani, in everything that he says. I don't agree with anyone on everything. But we in this city must model what it looks like to hold differences, that we can debate and discuss, argue and disagree, and stay in relationship. But one thing I know for sure, that Muslims and Jews must work together for a shared future of all of us, where the humanity of Palestinians and Israelis have a future of shared security, freedom, dignity, and justice. This can only happen when we all are working together with love and respect. And on issues related to New York City, we completely agree. We dream of a city where Jews and Muslims respect and care for each other. Forcefully, as a rabbi, I reject all attacks of Islamophobia and hatred of Arabs or of Muslims. This is not my Judaism. This is not my God. Together, we must reject all these attacks of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. We need each other. We dream of a city where God's keshet, or rainbow, bathes all of us in light and justice and in glorious tapestries of differences. And we always pray to remember that joy itself is an act of spiritual and political resistance. As a rabbi, I am grateful to Zoran for his commitment to fight anti-Semitism, for his commitment to protect all houses of worship, and to take seriously the fear that many Jewish communities live with. We dream of a future, and we make it real every day with our passionate commitment rooted in faith, relationships across all kinds of differences, and the leadership of Zohran Mamdani to take all of us and our city into a new future. Thank you.
Good evening, New York. My name is Charles Galbreth, and I serve as a pastor in Brooklyn, New York. Is Brooklyn in the house? Without a doubt. I serve a congregation that for over 103 years has welcomed immigrants into its doors and into its community. The faces and the places they have come from has changed, but we realize they are constantly and consistently looking to dream again. We recognize that many of our folks have been pushed and priced out. Healthcare costs has many people feeling helpless. For far too long, their dreams have been deferred, depressed, discounted, and just simply dissed. But I believe that there is a season coming. A season of recovery. In our text, it speaks about a brother who was a dreamer. And I believe that there is another dreamer who has a vision for New York City, who can dream and actualize our way out of food insecurity, out of housing that's unaffordable, out of constantly being underneath a crisis and intimidation to our immigrants. I believe that there is a possibility that rests within our city, and it rests within our brother Zohran Mamdani. In my sacred text, there's a story and narrative of Jesus where he sees folks who are hungry. He takes what is there, a few loaves of bread and some fish, and begins to break it and distribute it to people. It's interesting because the text says he broke it, blessed it, gave it to the folks, and everybody ate. I believe it's possible to have a city where everybody can eat. Whether you've been here for 2 years or 22 years, everybody can eat. Whether you ride the 5, the 2, the 1, or the A, everybody can eat. Whether you live in beautiful Brooklyn, the bustling Bronx, money-making Manhattan, Staten Island, or Queens, everybody can. Whether you come from here or from Haiti or from somewhere else, everybody can eat. Let's get together as one so that this entire city can be a place where everybody can eat.
These are not just slogans. These are commitments.
Everyone should be able to raise a family in New York.
We will deliver universal childcare.
We'll make the city affordable for everyone.
Change is coming. New Yorkers deserve a city they can afford.
We're gonna deliver.
It's government's job to make your life better.
That's exactly what we are going to do.
It's Zoran's agenda.
It's New York's agenda.
It's our agenda.
It's my agenda.
All of these concepts are just ideas in the clouds if we do not elect Zohran Mamdani.
Join me in welcoming the leaders who will help us bring this home. Governor Kathy Hochul, State Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins, and Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie.
give a warm welcome to our greatest allies in Albany, partners in delivering our affordability agenda, Speaker of the New York State Assembly, Carl Heastie, Leader of the New York State Senate, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, and Governor Kathy Hochul.
Here we are, everyone. It is great to see everyone. Tonight, we are here for one reason. Are you with me? Do you want to elect Zoran Mandani as the next mayor of New York? Well, then I'm in the right place. Because in so doing, electing him as our 111th mayor, we will change the course of history. And it needs to be changed. Because right now, I don't mean to take you all down to a dark place, because this has been a really uplifting experience. But right now, our city and our state and our country are under attack by Donald Trump and the Republicans in Washington. Right. I mean, they're literally not just taking a wrecking ball to the White House, they're taking a wrecking ball to our very values, our people, and our progress. Get this. Donald Trump literally said, the shutdown is about killing Democratic priorities. Now, what are those priorities? No, this gets bad. Killing food assistance for babies. Yeah, it really sucks. Killing money for seniors to pay their utility bills. Killing health care for New Yorkers already struggling to take care of their own lives. I mean, it even meant killing Planned Parenthood until we came in with money to keep it alive. Because they don't give a damn about women and their health care and their rights to an abortion. They're also killing major infrastructure projects, putting tens of thousands of hard-working union members out of work. Oh, friends, it gets worse. What about the ICE agents flooding our streets as we speak? Canal Street, Queens, the Bronx, they're everywhere, and they're terrorizing innocent people. And we have had enough. Now Donald Trump says, oh, we're going after the worst of the worst, the baddest of the bad. They're splitting up families. And let me tell you this actually happened. They took away mothers of babies who were nursing them and separated them. This is how cruel they are. Okay, how do you top that? Now, no, it continues. It's going to continue. It's all bad. Now, they're going after our Attorney General, Tish James. They go after Tish James, they can come after any of us. But here's what they did not count on. Here's what they did not count on. They always forget this about us. When we get punched, we fight back, and we fight back hard. We don't just fight, we win. Because time and time again, New Yorkers have been knocked down, and we get up stronger, louder, and more resilient than ever before. So I'll be fighting every day with my partners on the same side, Andrea Stewart-Cousins and our Speaker, Carl Heastie. Give them a round of applause. something. Here's what we need. Oh, you're fired up. You're fired up. But the three of us can't do it alone. We need a fighter in City Hall who wakes up every day ready to punch and fight for the working people of the city, and that person is Zoran Mandani. And this is because Trump's America runs on fear and cruelty and division. But New York, we run on hope and compassion and optimism that never leaves us. So I say we are the state that does not back down, and I'm going to be working closely with Mayor Zoran Mandani. But you know what? Well, you know what I admire about him so much? No, think about this. Zoran Mandani. But you know what you should take inspiration from? Think about the fact that every single time people have forced him to endure hatred and threats, trying to use his faith or his name as a weapon, you know what he's done? He doesn't get out in the gutter with everybody else. He rises up with grace and courage and grit. That's the kind of leader we need. That's what we need. Because that Islamophobia and bigotry and hate-filled speech, that kind of bullshit doesn't belong in New York. And I see in him someone who sees a New York that is affordable, because we want to live here. We want families to grow here. We want them to prosper. So we need more housing. But you know what? Here's something I can tell you about personally. New York's first mom governor, we need more child care. And it has to be universal. Child care for everyone who wants it. So here's what we're going to do. Oh, this crowd is fired up. All right. I can hear you. I can hear you. But here's, my friends, you want to see Zoran or not? Okay. All right. Listen, I got one plea for you. I love to see this energy and this passion. And for those of you who've not been involved in the voting or even campaigns before, I am so excited about what is going on here. But I need you to do something. All right, one more thing, my friend. This is about this November's election, but take that energy, that passion, and take it into 26 so that we can take back the House of Representatives, take the Senate, and take back our country. With your help, we will. Elect Zoran, and we take back America. Thank you, Queens. Thank you, New York. God love you guys.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Carl Heastie, New York State Speaker of the Assembly. And I have personally witnessed the profound impact that government can have on the lives of everyday citizens, particularly here in New York. And I come to you today not only as the first black speaker in the history of this state, but someone who calls this great city to home, namely the boogie down Bronx. That's why I'm proud to support my colleague and my good friend Zoran Mandani to be the next mayor of the city of New York. We are living in an era where it's just too tough, where actions speak louder than words. Change makers are taking center stage, determined to bring about necessary transformations that will improve our communities. I need y'all to repeat after me. We deserve an affordable city. We deserve affordable city. We deserve an affordable city. We deserve an affordable city. All right. And as a supporter of Zoran, a candidate whose name has become synonymous with the fight for affordability in a city plagued by high inflation, I am deeply committed to this cause, and I stand behind him today. It's a cause that every single one of us has had to grapple with as we walk the aisles of the grocery store, as families seeking adequate care for their children. In a city not only run by coffee, but a reliable and accessible public transportation system, we've witnessed the stark reality of how many New Yorkers rely on these services with simultaneously struggling to afford these fares. During Zoran's 10 years assembly, I hear you guys, I've collaborated closely with him to prioritize the needs of everyday New Yorkers. Together, alongside the Assembly majority, we spearheaded initiatives to pilot a free bus route in every borough, providing a lifeline for families as they juggle their daily responsibilities. With Zoran as mayor, there's no imagining what we can do together. Now, I need y'all to listen to me again. So everybody, Zoran for mayor, Zoran for mayor, Zoran for mayor, Zoran for mayor. Now, under the leadership of Zoran, he will be the fighter we need in City Hall, a beacon of change for communities that have felt unheard for far too long. Affordability will be at the forefront of his agenda, and we can all stand together and witness leadership in action as we work towards an even better and brighter future for our beloved city. And don't forget, as we head to the polls, just remember, Zoran for mayor.
Good evening, New York. I love what I'm feeling here. We're going to win this, right? So, we all hear you. Here's what I want to say. I want to say that I remember living in New York City in the housing projects, Amsterdam and then Parkside. I remember having a child and needing daycare. I remember making $7,900 a year. And they told me that I was making too much. It was the first time that I had the opportunity, because I was young, 20-something, that I stood outside in front of City Hall with so many people just like me, begging the government to understand that I needed to work to support my child with dignity and to have child care. They didn't hear me. Fortunately, my mother stepped in, so I was able to continue work. This is a story that in 2025 still exists. It is a story of unaffordability for the things that we need every single day. However, we have Zoran. Not only is he about affordability, but you heard the governor, you heard the speaker, and you heard from me. And just as the speaker is a historic figure in the assembly, the governor, the first woman to ever hold a position, and I am the first woman to ever lead a conference in the history of New York State. I bring my experiences with me to the table. And I tell you my experiences so you know that I get it. He gets it. The governor gets it. And I also talk about the history because you are looking at history. Things that people said could never be done. People could never have these seats. They could never ever sit at the table and make policy decisions. That's what they would have us believe. And yet, because you vote, we change history. We change lives. We make things happen. It's in your hands. You have the power. And one of the things that I was telling Zoran's campaign manager, Maya, you should give her a round of applause. Look where we are. Look where we are. Is that the first time I ran for Senate, I lost by 18 votes. 18 votes. In the longest race in history. They told me for February the next year that I lost by 18 votes. And look what happened. But I don't want you to, I want you to learn from what happened to me. You get out there. Do not rest. Do not stop. Knock on every door. You saw the QR code. Canvass, knock, and get people out there to vote because we don't have another chance. We can't miss this chance. And, you know, I'm just up north a little bit in Yonkers, but in Westchester, I always tell folks, is Westchester in the house? Come on, Westchester. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But what I always say up there is when Democrats vote, Democrats win. So here's what, but you know what, I'm going to be collective because I know there's a lot of people here. A lot of people want change. So what I'm going to tell you to repeat after me is when we vote, we win. When we vote, when we vote, let's go win. Thank you.
Speaker Heastie and Leader Stewart-Cousins. Tax the rich. Tax the... Oh, it's cool. You know, if you think about it, they were all former coworkers with Cuomo in Albany. And think about how bad you have to be at your job if all of your former coworkers get together to complain about how bad you were at your job on stage in a stadium full of people. You guys have been amazing tonight. You're never going to see me again after this, so please get... Oh, I know, it really stinks. But our headliners are coming on soon, but before they do, is everyone scanning the QR code to sign up to Canvas? Okay, on the count of 3. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and you're going to say, Sarah, I promise I will canvas and I will talk to my weird parents and my neighbors to get Zoran elected. Okay, you remember all that? 1, 2, 3. You sort of got it. Give it up for yourselves. You guys are amazing. Thanks for coming out tonight. We have some amazing headliners, and there's 9 days left to go. Do everything you can to make sure we elect Zohran Mamdani with a mandate to make New York City more affordable for all of us. And please give a warm welcome to the Resistance Revival Chorus.
Hello, everybody. We're here to sing. We are the Resistance Revival Chorus. We got a lot of friends with us on stage tonight. Oh, here we go. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Oh, which side are you on? You know this song. Which side are you on? Which side are you singing it together? Which side are you on? Oh, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side
Bernie, Senator.
Zoran, how are you?
You know, Bernie, this means so much to me because we are sitting here in one of my favorite restaurants in the heart of my district as an assembly member. My journey in running for office in the first place, the first event that we had, it was to your Queensbridge rally. And when Bernie walked out to Back in Black by AC/DC, we felt as if possibility was a fact of life.
But it takes courage, New York, because we are up against the Goliaths.
Because the oligarchs own it all. And what we are here tonight to say is to hell with you, we're going to defeat you.
And we can tell Andrew Cuomo that New York City is not for sale.
And I think a lot about what has happened leading up to this political moment. The only reason that I had any hope in launching a long shot campaign for Congress is because Bernie Sanders proved that you can run a grassroots campaign and win in an America where we almost thought it was impossible.
And what an honor it is to look out onto this crowd and to see the city I love. At New Yorkers who, amidst this despair, have continued to believe in a world better than this.
And I will tell you, New York City, if we can change the page in the biggest and best city in the United States of America, we can change the page in our country too.
With every block walked, you have refused to normalize a politics of cruelty, of greed, of exploitation.
I want you all to take a look around and find someone you don't know. Maybe somebody who doesn't look kind of like you. Maybe somebody who might be of a different religion than you. Maybe they come from a different country. My question now to you is, are you willing to fight for that person as much as you're willing to fight for yourself? Nobody is an island into himself or herself, right? We all got it from somebody else, and I got it from other people, and they got it from somebody else. And, you know, the fight for justice has gone on for a few thousand years.
Bernie said something to me that we are all in this struggle because someone brought it to us. But he also said, not me, us. Bernie, Senator.
Great to be gathering with you all tonight in Queens, New York, the world's borough, the jewel of America. Just in this slice of New York City alone, we represent over 100 languages and cultures. We welcome people of all religions, faiths, and creeds. We honor all genders, races, orientations, and status. And here, we defend immigrants. We are a working people's borough in a working people's city. And all of that makes us a fascist worst nightmare. Queens, we gather here today at both a perilous moment for our country and on the precipice of hope for our city. Because in 9 short days, we will work our hearts out to elect Zohran Mamdani as the next mayor of the great city of New York. And it is going to take all of us. But to be honest, it always has. That we are all here in this moment, during this time, is not a coincidence. And it is also not a coincidence that the very forces that Zohran is up against in this race mirrors what we are up against nationally. Both an authoritarian, criminal presidency fueled by corruption and bigotry, and an ascendant right-wing extremist movement. And an insufficient, eroded, bygone political establishment, this time in the form of Andrew Cuomo, whose pursuit of power has blinded them from what that power is supposed to be used for in the first place, which is to aid and put the working people of America and New York City first. And Queens, both of these challenges are fueled and funded by the same billionaire class whose apparent greatest fear is an equitable, affordable, and prosperous nation and city for all, not just the very few. But we have been here before as a city and a country, and we have won before, and we will win again on November 4th. Because Queens, it has always been in our nation's darkest chapters that our brightest lights emerge. And we, each and every one of us, whether we like it or not, are living history today. From our nation's beginning, American democracy has always reflected the struggle between humanity's highest and lowest natures, between subjects and citizens, the Confederacy and the Union, freedom and bondage, labor and capital rights and regimes. And it is no different today. The struggle of our time today is the single most unjust concentration of wealth in the hands of the very few, unseen in our nation's history and the world's history. And it is a time such as this, in which demanding what should be considered the most basic tenets of human dignity, that is considered a radical and outlandish act. It is a time such as today, when demanding affordable housing is considered a radical and outlandish act, that we can afford our lives, our groceries, our transit, is considered an outlandish and radical act, that we accept our neighbor as ourselves, a radical and outlandish act. But we must remember, in a time such as this, we are not the crazy ones, New York City. We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane. To demand an affordable and decent housing, a decent wage, the right to health care, that we pay to care for our people instead of the flattening of Palestinians and oppressed people abroad is not a radical act. It is basic and core humanity. That is why the election of Zohran is as important as our cause today. Childcare, buses, rent, and our rights. Here in New York City, it is the jewel and the center of all that is possible in America. And on November 4th, we will prove that today. We will prove it to the world, and we will prove it to the nation. And we will send a loud message to President Donald Trump that his authoritarianism is no good here. We will send a message that to ICE, that secret police do not belong here. And we will demonstrate the heroism that exists in the everyday people throughout our city. Heroism like that we saw last week, a young woman in a polka dot dress standing up to a secret police officer in Canal Street. She is New York City. The young man in a white helmet jumping off his bicycle saying, "Not in my neighborhood," that is New York City. The line cooks and the delivery workers every day serving and making sure that we are clothed and fed and that our children are cared for. That is America, New York City. That is who we fight for. That is what this victory is about. Because New York, America, our freedoms and our future. When I think about what is happening throughout our nation today, and what Donald Trump has even done, reflected, symbolic of so much in his demolition of the White House and the East Wing. We see what he's doing to that, and we must let him know that this injustice, no matter what he's doing, that house doesn't belong to him, New York. It belongs to us. It belongs to the people of this country. And I want us all to remember and to know that the future, our future, is not determined by a despot in a house built by enslaved people. Our future will be determined not in a house built by slaves, but in a city built by freemen, in a city built by unionists and immigrants and suffragists. The bricks laid by working people, past, present, and future, the seamstresses and the unionists who paid for our rights in blood. This city was built by the Irish escaping famine, Italians fleeing fascism, Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country, in a vision to build the freest, toughest, and greatest city on earth, and we will not stop now, New York. It is no surprise. NYC, baby, NYC. It is no surprise to me, New York, that it is New York and that it is our great city that we, our city, have chosen to adorn ourselves with the nation's greatest monument to freedom, the Statue of Liberty. And she reminds us every day that the central commitment of America is an unconditional freedom, precisely of the kind that cannot be bought, that is available to the huddled masses yearning to be free. This is America, New York City. Don't let them tell you any different. Don't let them tell you that we are the exception. We are the rule. We are the standard. We are the acceptance, and we set the bar for America. I'm talking to you, Donald Trump. There has been a day before his presidency, and there will be a day after. And It belongs to us. Thank you, New York. I love you, New York. You have made my life possible, my mother's life possible, my father's life possible. All of our lives have been made possible by this great city and by our shared contract and bond to one another. And it is my honor tonight to introduce to you all another great born New Yorker. From Brooklyn. Senator Sanders and I recently came in. We were in Indiana last night. We both paid a visit to the home of the great Eugene Debs. And I had the honor of presenting Senator Sanders last night with the National Eugene Debs Award, in which the foundation and the people who steward Debs's legacy have honored Senator Sanders as the foremost leader and advocate for labor and class struggle in the United States of America. And it remains such a great privilege and honor to call him a friend, a mentor, a treasured person that we have, and a New Yorker, that's right. And so I know we all love him so dearly. And so let's make sure that we give him the biggest rousing welcome that he receives this year in introducing Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you, New York! Whoa! And let me thank the people of New York for sending Alexandria to the U.S. Congress. She is not only one of the great members of Congress, she is inspiring working people and young people all across the country. Thank you, New York. Now, everybody knows that a New York City mayor's race attracts a lot of attention. That's not new. It's the largest city in the country. You got 8 million people. Everybody is interested in what happens here. But this mayor's race, my friends, is different. It is not just the folks here in New York City who are paying attention. It's not just people all across our country who are watching this race. It is not just the President of the United States who seems to be very, very concerned about who wins this election. The truth is that people all over the world are paying attention to what will happen here a week from Tuesday. Now, why is that? Why has this campaign created such an unbelievable amount of interest, literally all over the world? And the answer is obvious. These are not normal times. This is not a normal election. This election takes place at a moment in American history when we have a rigged economy with more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of our country. This election takes place at a time when the wealthiest people in America have never ever had it so good, while 60% of people in our country are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to pay their rent or mortgage, struggling to afford child care or higher education for their kids, struggling to afford health care, struggling to afford decent quality food, struggling how to figure out how they will retire with some shred of dignity after working their entire lives. This election takes place when the United States of America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world, has one of the highest rates of childhood poverty and senior poverty of almost any nation. And when in this rich country, 800,000 Americans, including many veterans, are homeless. This election takes place at a time when we have a president who has given $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%, has given $900 billion in tax breaks to the largest corporations in our country. And to pay for those tax breaks, he is throwing 15 million Americans off the health care they have by slashing Medicaid. And in addition, he is forcing over 20 million Americans to see a doubling in their health care premiums. This election is taking place when we have an administration in Washington which every day is moving us toward an authoritarian society, undermining our Constitution and the rule of law. This election is taking place when we have a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires in both political parties to select the candidates they want and to buy elections. Ordinary Americans get one vote. You get one vote. Meanwhile, billionaires get the opportunity to spend as much as they want to elect the candidates they want. That is the context in which this election is taking place. That is why this election is so enormously important, and that is why Zoran Mamdani must become the next mayor of New York. New York must have a mayor who represents the working families of this city, not the billionaire class. The reason why this campaign has generated so much interest around the world and so much excitement is that people want to know the answer to one very simple question, and that is, in the year 2025, when the people on top have never ever had so much economic and political power, is it possible for ordinary people, for working class people to come together and defeat those oligarchs? You're damn right we can. And let me tell you something else. At a moment when Americans are extremely distressed about where we are as a nation, economically and politically, a victory here in New York will give hope and inspiration to people throughout our country and throughout the world. That is what this election is about. And that is why Donald Trump is paying attention to this election. Ordinary people, working class people, black and white and Latino, Asian, gay and straight, coming together to take on the oligarchy. That is Trump's worst nightmare. And what Trump and his oligarchic friends know, that if New Yorkers come together and elect Zoran, we can do that from California to Maine. We can defeat the oligarchy. And what the oligarchs fear, what they fear is that people will start understanding that this country belongs to us, not them. And all over the country, when people are inspired, when people are standing up to power, they will ask some very simple questions. Why are we in the United States the only major country not to guarantee health care to all as a human right? Why aren't we paying our teachers the salaries they deserve, so that we can have the best public educational system in the world? Why aren't we doing what used to exist in New York and all over this country 70 years ago, make public colleges and universities tuition free? Why in the richest country on earth aren't we ending homelessness and building 5 million units of low-income and affordable housing? Why don't we make it easier for workers to join unions? And why don't we raise the national minimum wage to a living wage? And when so many of our seniors are struggling to cover their basic needs, some 22% of seniors in America are trying to survive on $15,000 a year less. Why aren't we raising Social Security benefits and providing pensions to the workers in this country who desperately need them? And why don't we have a foreign policy which does not spend billions of dollars on a Netanyahu government starving children in Gaza? In other words, In other words, my friends, a victory for Zoran will help Americans understand that in the richest country in the history of the world, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Now, the oligarchs and the political establishment in New York tell us that Zoran's agenda for New York is radical. Really? At a time when working families in this city are finding it hard to live here because of the outrageously high cost of housing, I don't think it's radical to say that the city should freeze the rent and triple its stock of affordable housing. That ain't radical. At a time when working families can't afford the high cost of childcare, and psychologists tell us the most important years of human development, intellectual and emotional, are 0 through 4. Why shouldn't we have a situation where every child in America gets the best quality child care we can provide? That ain't radical. Taking care of our kids is not radical. At a time when getting to work is too expensive and we want to encourage more utilization of public transportation, it is not a radical idea to say that buses in this city should be free and fast. At a time when every parent wants their kids eating good quality food, not junk food, and there are neighborhoods in this city where it is simply not affordable or possible to get that food, it is not a radical idea to say that there should be municipally funded grocery stores. And by the way, when billionaires and large corporations and the very wealthy are doing extraordinarily well, when the very richest people in this country often pay an effective tax rate lower than truck drivers or nurses, it is not a radical idea to say that the rich should start paying their fair share of taxes. Brothers and sisters, these ideas are not radical. They are common sense, and they are what the people of New York City want and need. Now, let me be very clear. As someone who served as mayor of Burlington, Vermont for 8 years, a city just a little bit smaller than New York, I can tell you absolutely that being mayor is not an easy job. In local government, the people hold you accountable for everything. For picking up the trash, for crime problems, for the quality of education their kids receive, for traffic jams, blame the mayor. And that's what mayors have to deal with. And it is not easy. Zohran Mamdani as mayor is not going to have all the answers. The problems facing this country and every other major city in America are in fact enormous. So let me say this to you from the bottom of my heart. When he is elected, your job is not over. Zoran is going to need your help every single day. In this unprecedented moment in our nation's history, all of us together must act in an unprecedented way. And that means governing New York City and other cities in an unprecedented way. Please do everything you can to work with Zoran in order to make him and his administration the best administration in the history of New York. Let me conclude by saying this, and I say this again as somebody who became mayor of Burlington, Vermont in 1981 by winning that election by 10 votes after a recount. Now, I have looked at the polls here in New York. You have seen it. And the polls suggest that Zoran is in the lead, and that is great. But please, 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 do not underestimate our opponents. They have a huge amount of money, and they are spending it right now. So I urge you, forget about the polls. Go into the last 8 days of this election assuming that you are 5 points behind. So what you guys are going to have to do, along with the other 80,000 volunteers in the Mamdani campaign, you've got to do everything that you can to bring people to the polls in early voting, which is taking place right now, and on Election Day. None of us want to wake up the day after the election and find that we lost that election because our opponents outworked us. That must not happen. Brothers and sisters, a year ago, very few people in New York knew about a 33-year-old assemblyman named Zoran Mamdani. And when he first entered this race for mayor, he was polling at all of 1%. Nobody knew who this guy was. But Zoran did what people who are serious about real change always do. He created a campaign from the bottom on up by building an extraordinary and unprecedented grassroots movement which now has tens of thousands of volunteers. Unlike his opponents, he didn't go running to the billionaires for campaign contributions. He went to the people with an agenda that made sense to them. And despite being outspent 4-1, Zoran won the primary. And brothers and sisters, with your help over the next 8 days, this young man is going to make American history. It is my honor to introduce the next mayor of the city of New York, Zoran Mandani.
Good evening, New York City! How are we all doing? Habibi, how are you? It is so good to see you all here tonight. It is so good to see you all here tonight. Habibi, how are you? It is so good to see you all here tonight. Now, as you know, a politician is only as good as the team around them. So I have to ask that team to start up this teleprompter. Because right now, it's off the top of the dome. And while we wait, why don't we actually begin? Can we first hear a round of applause for our incredible MC, Sarah Sherman? Can we hear it for the elected officials, the labor leaders, and the New Yorkers who have joined us this evening? And can we hear it for Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Yeah, we're good. You know, there are many things one can say about our Congresswoman, but I want to tell you a story about 2021. When we went on a 15-day hunger strike and won $450 million in debt relief for working-class taxi drivers. The Congresswoman was there with us on that picket line. She was there with us on the phone after everyone else had gone home. And she was there with us again in the primary of this election. And that's because she's there for working people. And now we are just getting started. And let's please make some noise for Senator Bernie Sanders. I stand before you tonight only because the senator dared to stand alone for so long. I speak the language of democratic socialism only because he spoke it first. And when I ran for state assembly almost 6 years ago to the day, it was at Bernie's rally in Queensbridge Park where I led our first canvass. Signing people up for our email list, asking them for $5 or $10, and encouraging them to believe that the politics of not me, us applied to our state government just as much as our national one. When we win on November 4th, and then govern from City Hall with dignity as the foundation of our politics, it will be because of the movement that Bernie built. I stand before you tonight as the nominee of a Democratic Party reinvigorated in its pursuit of making government work for everyone, not just the wealthy and the well-connected. Looking out at more than 13,000 of you here in Forest Hill Stadium, It is tempting to believe that this moment was always destined. Yet when we launched this campaign on October 23rd, 1 year and 3 days ago, there was not a single television camera there to cover it. When we launched this campaign 1 year and 3 days ago, my name was a statistical anomaly in every poll. 4 months later, as recently as this February, our support had reached the eye-watering heights of 1%. We were tied with noted candidate, someone else. I always knew we could beat him. When we launched this campaign 1 year and 3 days ago, the political world did not pay it much attention because we were looking to build a movement that reflected the city as it actually is, not just the one that political consultants think exists on a spreadsheet. And when we launched this campaign 1 year and 3 days ago, we were dismissed as a punchline in the halls of power. The idea of fundamentally changing who government serves in this city was unimaginable. Even if we gained momentum, they asked, how would we ever overcome the tens of millions of dollars in attacks that would follow? Yet we knew then what we know now. New York is not for sale. As young people showed up in record numbers, as immigrants saw themselves in the politics of their city, as seniors, once skeptical, dared to dream again, we spoke with one voice. New York is not for sale. And now, as we stand on the precipice of taking this city back from corrupt politicians and the billionaires that fund them, let our words ring out so loud tonight that Andrew Cuomo can hear them in his $8,000 a month apartment. Let them ring so loud so that he can hear us even if he's in Westchester this evening. Let them ring so loud that his puppet master in the White House hears us. New York is not for sale. "13 days after we announced our candidacy, Donald Trump won the presidency once again. The Bronx and Queens saw some of the largest shifts to the right of any counties in our country. No matter what article you read or channel you turned to, the stories seemed to be the same. Our city was headed to the right. Obituaries were written about Democrats' abilities to reach Asian voters, young voters, male voters. Again and again, we were told that if we had any hope of beating the Republican Party, it would only be by becoming the Republican Party. Andrew Cuomo himself said that we had lost not because we had failed to speak to the needs of working class Americans, but because we had spent too much time talking about bathrooms and sports teams. This was a moment where it seemed our political horizon was narrowing. And in this moment, New York, you had a choice to retreat or to fight. And the choice that we made was to stop listening to those experts and to start listening to you. We went to two of the places that saw the biggest swings to the right, Fordham Road and Hillside Avenue. These New Yorkers were far from the caricature of Trump voters. They told us
They supported Donald Trump because they felt disconnected from a Democratic Party that had grown comfortable with mediocrity and gave its time only to those who gave millions. They told us that they felt abandoned by a party beholden to corporations, which asked them for their votes after telling them only what it was against, rather than presenting a vision of what it was for. They told us they didn't believe in a system anymore that did not even pretend to offer solutions to the defining challenge of their lives, the cost of living crisis. Rent was too expensive, so were groceries, so was childcare, so was taking the bus, and working 2 or 3 jobs still wasn't enough. Trump, for all his many flaws, had promised them an agenda that would put more money in their pockets and lower the cost of living. Donald Trump lied. It was up to us to deliver for the working people he left behind. Over the 8 months of the primary, we told New Yorkers how we intended to address that very same affordability crisis. We did not do it alone. This was a movement powered by tens of thousands of everyday New Yorkers who knocked doors between 12-hour shifts at work and phone banked until their fingers were numb. People who had never voted before became die-hard canvassers. Community formed. Our city got to know each other and itself. This, my friends, was your movement. And it always will be. As the snow melted and the frost thawed, this campaign began to grow faster than anyone ever imagined possible. So many small donors chipped in that we had to ask you to stop donating. Please stop. We climbed the polls faster than Andrew Cuomo could dial Donald Trump's number. People started to learn how to pronounce my name. And the billionaires got scared. Or, as the New York Times would describe it, the Hamptons was basically in group therapy about the mayoral race. Andrew Cuomo and his corporate cronies did everything they could to make this campaign one of fear and one of smallness. Hell yeah. Obviously. They pumped millions into this race, artificially lengthened my beard to make me seem menacing, painted our city as a dystopian hellhole, and worked night and day to divide the people of New York. They failed. When I walked the length of Manhattan just a few days before the election, hundreds of New Yorkers marched alongside me. And when we strode into Times Square under a billboard with betting odds that showed Cuomo's chances of winning at nearly 80%, we knew that the so-called experts were set to get it wrong yet again. Andrew Cuomo was supposed to be inevitable. And then on June 24th, we shattered that inevitability. We won by 13%. With the most votes in any citywide primary in New York City history. Some of those New Yorkers had voted for Trump. Many others had never voted before. And when Andrew Cuomo called me to concede at 10:15 that night, he said over the phone that we had created a tremendous force. When you insist on building a coalition with room for every New Yorker, that is exactly what you create, a tremendous force. That force has only grown over these past 4 months. We now have more than 90,000 volunteers. And we have spoken to millions more New Yorkers. We have put forth new plans in these last few months for how we will govern, hiring thousands more teachers for our schools, taking on the consultants and the contracts in city government, and tackling the final boss of New York City infrastructure, scaffolding. But over the past few weeks, as this race has entered its final days, we have witnessed displays of Islamophobia that shock the conscience. Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, and Curtis Sliwa do not have an agenda for the future. All they possess is the playbook of the past. They have sought to make this election a referendum not on the affordability crisis that consumes New Yorkers' lives, but on the faith I belong to and the hatred they seek to normalize. We spent months working to convince the world that New Yorkers have a right to afford this city that we all love. Now, we are being forced to defend the idea that a Muslim is even allowed to lead it. These same big money donors and disgraced politicians have sought to rob us of our ambition because they do not think that you deserve the beauty of a dignified life. And time and again, they have encouraged you to imagine less because they know that a reimagined New York hurts their bottom line. I believe that this city is like the universe, constantly expanding. We deserve a city government as ambitious as the working New Yorkers who make it the greatest city in the world. We cannot wait for someone else to deliver it. We are not afforded the luxury of waiting, because too often to wait is to trust those who delivered us to this point. On November 4th, we will set the course of our city back in the direction it belongs. And in doing so, we will answer a question that our nation has wrestled with from the dawn of our founding. Who is allowed to be free? There are some who hear that question and they know the answer without hesitation. They are the oligarchs who have accumulated vast wealth off those who labor from before the light breaks the horizon until long after color has drained from the sky. These are the robber barons of America, and they believe their money affords them a larger say than the rest of us. I am not just talking about the Bill Ackmans and Ken Langones of the world. I speak of people whose names you are not familiar with, who have no qualms about contributing more to super PACs than we would ever tax them, and who celebrate when those PACs flood our airwaves with commercials that plaster the words "global jihad" over my face. Their freedom doesn't just come at the expense of dignity and truth. It comes at the expense of the freedoms of others too. They are the authoritarians who seek to keep us pressed beneath their thumbs because they know that once we shake ourselves loose, we will never be held down again. Each and every one of these people think New York is for sale. For too long, my friends, freedom has belonged only to those who can afford to buy it. The oligarchs of New York are the wealthiest people in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. They do not want the equation to change. They will do everything they can to prevent their grip from weakening. The truth is as simple as it is non-negotiable. We are all allowed freedom. Each one of us, the working people of this city, the taxi drivers, the line cooks, the nurses, all those seeking lives of grace, not greed, we all get to be free. And on November 4th, thanks to the hard work of more than 90,000 volunteers across every corner of this city, that is exactly what we will tell the world. Because while Donald Trump's billionaire donors think that they have the money to buy this election, we have a movement of the masses. And we are a movement that is not afraid of what we believe. And we've believed it for quite some time. Those who worry about what this movement may look like on January 1st are the ones who worried on October 23rd what it may look like tonight. But our purpose has not changed, and neither have our promises. As I said on the evening I announced, the job of government is to actually make our lives better. And in the exact words I said on October 23rd, here is what we stand for, my friends. We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants and use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it. We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line and make what are currently the slowest buses in the nation move around this city with ease. And we are going to create universal childcare at no cost to parents, so New Yorkers can raise their family in the city they love. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the. Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and. Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal. We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life. No New Yorker should ever be priced out of anything they need to survive. And we believed then, we believe today, we will believe tomorrow that it is government's job to deliver that dignity. Dignity, my friends, is another way of saying freedom. Standing before you this evening, I take great strength from those who have labored mightily for the cause of freedom in America, who refused to accept that government could not meet what moments of crisis demanded from it. When the power of the people overwhelms the influence of the powerful, there is no crisis that government cannot meet. It was government that enacted a New Deal to lift a generation out of poverty, to create beautiful public goods, and establish the right to unionize and collectively bargain. My friends, the era of government that deems an issue too small or a crisis too big must come to an end. Because we need a government that is every bit as ambitious as our adversaries. A government strong enough to refuse the realities we will not accept and forge the future we know we deserve. A government that refuses to accept 1 in 4 New Yorkers living in poverty. That refuses to accept more than 150,000 public school students being homeless. That refuses to accept that 2 union salaries are not enough to put down a mortgage in this city. And a government that refuses to accept you being priced out of the very city you helped to build every single day. Time and again, our nation has teetered on the precipice of hopelessness. Now is one of those times. But in each of these moments, working people have reached into the darkness and reshaped our democracy. No longer will we allow the Republican Party to be the one of ambition. No longer will we have to open a history book to read about Democrats leading with big ideas. My friends, the world is changing. It's not a question of whether that change will come. It's a question of who will change it. We have an opportunity before us that few have ever received and even fewer have seized. It's the opportunity to show the world what it means to win freedom. It is the opportunity to live up to the legacy left by those who came before. We do not get to determine the scale of a crisis. Our choice is how we respond. Let us win a city hall that works for those straining to buy groceries, not those straining to buy our democracy. And let us look forward to January 1st, when the hard work of governing will begin. Those in power would like to describe our policy commitments as if they are illusions that will evaporate as soon as we approach City Hall. Let us show them instead that they are invocations of the future that we will win. And let us prove to each and every New Yorker that a politics of expansion does not just mean imagination. It insists upon fulfillment. We can make City Hall a place where New Yorkers come to expect the future, not just failure. But we are not there yet. Just as Andrew Cuomo's victory in the primary was thought to be inevitable, the same narrative has started to form around us today. When you read the articles that tell a post-election story of triumph while we are amidst early voting, when you see the Kalshi odds that have our chances of victory in the 90s, know this: you are reading the same things that Andrew Cuomo read when he went to sleep each night in June, believing that his victory was promised. We cannot allow complacency to infiltrate this movement. So over these 9 final days, I ask for only one thing from each of you: more. I know you are tired. And for that, I recommend some Adani chai. And still, I ask for more. I know the attacks have intensified, that a warm bed is more inviting than a sixth-floor walk-up, that another evening spent knocking doors after a long workday feels daunting. And still, I ask for more. I ask for more because that is the only way that we win a future of more. So if you are able, I urge you, my friends, stand up. If you have knocked a door, turn your flashlight on. If you will knock a door, turn your flashlight on. If you have more to give, turn your flashlight on. Together, let us make a light bright enough to banish any darkness. Over these final 9 days and the months and years that follow, the powers that be will throw everything in their arsenal against us. They will spend millions more dollars. They will attack us from every conceivable angle. But we will not bend. We will not flinch. We will triumph over the oligarchs, and we will return dignity to our lives. Nearly 89 years ago to the day, FDR spoke before a crowd of thousands at Madison Square Garden. He said, "I should like to have it said of my first administration that in it, the forces of selfishness and of lust for power met their match. I should like to have it said of my second administration that in it, these forces met their master. My friends, I should like to have it said of our campaign that in it, the forces of selfishness and lust for power met their match. And I should like to have it said of our City Hall that in it, these forces met their master. New York, our work has only just begun. On November 4th, we set ourselves free. Thank you.